everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I am Jamie, and this is the best magicians you have never heard of. Today's guest has been a featured performer at the world-famous Magic Castle in Hollywood. He's advised film, TV, theater, and theme park productions as magical and psychic consultant. He's received rave reviews for his one-man off-Broadway show called Extraordinary Deceptions. Everybody please welcome Michael Gutenplan.
Last thing you've ever been in your entire life. There's just one problem. You forgot how to read.
What the hell did you do to me?
Hey, Michael, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today. So why don't you take a minute and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a professional mentalist, psychic entertainer. I'm a third generation psychic. My father and my grandfather were both psychics. Goes back pretty further than that in the family. We had a guy, Wolf Messing, like my grandfather's great uncle, who was also a psychic in Russia. But I do this for a living. I mainly focus on the country club and corporate circuit. And I love what I do. I present it as real, which is going to make a lot of your viewers uncomfortable, but everything I do is real.
Okay. Yeah, there's always been a debate about that, whether you say it's real or whether you say it's entertainment purposes only. It's gray area.
I encourage and welcome the debate, but
let's see what happens.
They're not the ones paying my bills.
So is that what really excites you about magic? Is hypnotism or mentalism? Mentalism in specific?
No, I mean, I love mentalism because it's as close to a theatrical experience as I like it to be. Mm-hmm. What excites me about magic is I went to school for theater. I spent 5 years at Carnegie Mellon for learning how to create theatrical productions, and magic is what every Broadway show is trying to achieve. And we get to do it with tricks and make it easier. We can enter that emotional aspect much quicker than a theatrical production can. And that's what excites me about magic and mentalism and hypnosis.
So when you were younger, when you started doing magic, did you start with card tricks or coin tricks or anything like that? Or did you go straight into mentalism?
Great question. I started at 18. My grandfather did it when I was a kid. We loved, something like Grandpa did. He wanted any of his kids to do magic. He would take us to Tannen's. I grew up in New York, and he would say, "Get whatever you want." And I wouldn't want anything. And freshman year of college in Pittsburgh, I went into the Cuckoo's Nest in Pittsburgh, and I bought a trick. I said, "I'm going to a fraternity party." And it was a scotch and soda, and oh, yeah. I was hooked. I actually didn't want to do card tricks at first. I wanted to do tricks because I didn't think I could I didn't know there was sleight of hand. I always assumed everything was magic and cards. Why would I want 30 different decks of cards to do 30 different tricks? That never made sense to me. And then that summer, I had viral myocarditis, congestive heart failure. I was in a coma for 2 weeks, yada, yada, yada. And in my recovery, someone got me Magic for Dummies, and I started reading a book. And I said, oh, wow, there's more than buying a trick. And then I went into Tannen's, the magic shop in Long Island. And the guy working behind the counter said, you've come in here for the last 2 years buying tricks. I'm going to give you a book, and I'm going to give you a video. Learn how to do sleight of hand, basic, and come back when you can do something. And then we'll start talking about what you can buy from me. And that was a gift that he gave me, And so I never was a card guy. I never was a coin guy. I was someone who said, I want to be able to do a little bit. I wanted to do mentalism. I loved mentalism. But Tony Spina at Tannen's, who was owned the place for many years, actually said to me, you can do mentalism when you're older. He goes, I don't think you have the persona right now to pull it off. He goes, do magic, do mental magic, do mind reading tricks. But if you want to be a mentalist, wait a couple of years, kid. Yeah. And I think that was good advice.
Yeah, I would think that would be good advice, because I think when somebody is watching a mentalist, they require a certain amount of credibility for something like that, especially if you're saying it's real. Then they have a hard time accepting, a 16-year-old kid doing, seances and whatnot. They're just, it's not the same. He could get away with doing card tricks. You can't get away with doing that.
I think it's weird because I'm very lucky. I live down the street from the Magic Castle, so I get to go see a lot of people, and I do see some of the Magic Castle juniors presenting mental tricks, mental magic, and very few people present it as a magic trick. Most people will do a magic show and then do a mental trick, a mentalism trick in the show.
Right.
And the audience responds to it. They respond to it as they should, with amazement, much more amazement than the card trick, because there is that twinkle of truth to it. Oh my God, maybe it is real. Maybe this kid can pull this off. And I think that's intoxicating. I think that's misleading. I was listening to an interview the other day about the smash and stab.
Yeah,
the spike
I might have
trick.
read the same thing.
Yeah, and they were saying that the problem with it is that it gets such incredible reactions that you think it's a great trick, but we misinterpret the audience going as, oh, they loved it. And I think mentalism as a whole tends to do that to performers. They go, look at how my audience reacted, and the audience goes, yeah, for one moment we reacted like that. We're good. We saw it.
If you were going to go, if something, you wanted to see something in magic, if you were to sit down, you had an hour with nothing to do, and you were going to go on YouTube and look at some magic, what kind of magic would you key into that search engine?
The old magic specials,
okay,
of the 80s and 90s. I think that what I've been watching, I can answer that because I've been doing it recently. Watching all those old, in America, CBS specials. BBC had, the 100 greatest magic tricks of all time, and just kind of seeing what excites a producer, not necessarily what the audience likes, but what excites a producer. And I've been watching that and going, why would they put that? Like, I was watching, The Magician's Greatest Magicians. And I was watching it going, hosted by Harry Anderson on CBS. And I found YouTube had it. And David Williamson is on that. And it is with his raspy voice, because he lost his voice. It's a great story. He steals the show. And then you watch some of the other elements of that show and you go, whoa, why? That's a fraternal favor that person got. That person was booked because they're liked by the hierarchy of the magic world, not because they are television worthy. And I'm interested in seeing what those are.
When I first talked to you, I actually wrote down the word psychology and I put it in brackets. And because when we first talked, I noticed that everything that you talked deeply about had some psychological bearing on what was going on. And you just did again. So I obviously kind of picked that out on purpose. So what is it about the psychology? Is it just psychology and you enjoy? Because when you said you're the producer, it becomes a point of view thing, right? Everybody sees something from a different point of view, and the producer is going to see it from the point of view of making something that's going to make money or whatever his goal is, right?
No.
So his view is going to be completely different. He doesn't care if it's entertaining. He cares if it's entertaining them.
Yeah.
So
if it's good, it's interesting because I would phrase that as, is it good television? Is it not necessarily a live, this is the greatest magic trick, but is this good television is what they're thinking about.
Right. So I'll tell you what, do you have something that you can show us? You got something cool for us?
Yeah, let me, so I don't know if cool is the right word. And this is actually very easy. So I do this, I've been doing Zoom shows, and I wanted something very quick to do with, here, we'll give it a little air shuffle there. We'll even give it a little cut. I've been doing something with the Zoom shows where I start off with magic, because I never get to do magic in my live shows. And I said, I'll do magic. And then I go into the kind of mind reading mentalism part. And I wanted, with the deck of cards, to do something magical. Now, I don't have a table in my show. So I'm standing up. It's me in my room, but I don't have a table or anything. And I wanted something that would involve multiple people that didn't require me not to know what the card is. I mean, it's silly in these Zoom shows where they say, don't tell me what it is. I can see it. I have a camera right there. So this is kind of what I came up with. I love it. It's so simple, but it is very powerful. And basically it's this: you're going to be a family of 4, okay? And all you're going to do is say stop. If I take the cards out of view, I promise everybody I'm not doing anything tricky. It's just I'm using the camera there. I'm not standing up. Also, I want you to imagine that I have a pocket right here where I'm going to put the selected cards, because I don't have that right now. So freshly shuffled card, doesn't matter. You can have a cut or whatever. Just say stop at any time.
Stop.
Right there. I'm going to give you the card below the 8 of hearts. I'm going to give you the card below the 8 of hearts. I'm going to put that right there. Pretend it's right there. Let's see if the rest of your family has a psychic connection to the card that you stopped at, that mysterious card that's in my pocket. So your brother now can just say stop at any time.
Stop.
Let's see. Right there. Interesting. Not the 8 of hearts, but the 4 of spades, which is halfway to the 8, and that will be the second card right below the 4 of spades. And Mom, oddly looks like the brothers. Mom, say stop at any time. Let's see if there's a connection.
Stop.
Oh, you waited towards the end. You know, moms always get this. Queen of spades. Moms always get the queen. I'm going to give you the card below the queen. Oh, that's screwed up. We'll give you the card below the queen. We'll put that there. We'll even give it a little shuffle, Mom, because Dad's going up next. Now, Dad, the card that you stop at is going to be the card for the group. Remember, I have these 3 in my pocket right there. You can see them. So, Dad, just say stop at any time. We have the 4, the 8, and the queen is where we've stopped. Let's see if Dad can have a connection.
Stop.
And interesting. Dad, you stopped at the 2 of hearts. I'm going to give you the card below the 2 of hearts. Interesting. Ace of clubs. Excellent card. Excellent card, Dad. I'm going to take these 4 cards out. You know, we talk about family connections. We talk about psychic phenomena of synchronicity. And I love that Dad stopped on the Ace of clubs, and the other 3 members of this family stopped on the other 3 aces. 4 aces, 4 family members, a miracle of the mind, folks. Obviously, not giving away any big secrets here. I'm making you pick the aces.
Right.
The real secret to that is you're not focusing on. You talked about psychology. When I stop, I don't go, that's the card we're taking. I'm talking about the card that they above where they stopped, and I'm saying, oh, you got an 8, and oh, you got a 4. What are the odds that the 2 of you stopped on an 8 and a 4? And you can force them to stop at different cards. Oh, you got a 2 and you each. But I like to, that's for me jazz. I like the riffing of making it work no matter where they stop. What happens is when I started doing this, I thought this was a throwaway. I said, this is just a fun thing, a time filler. And they love it because you're going for the emotion. You're not saying 4 people stop at a card. Oh my God, you all got the 4 aces. You're saying there's a synchronicity. Dad stopped at the king of spades. I'll give you the unknown card. And Mom stopped at the 4 of diamonds. I'll give you the unknown card. And all of a sudden, I did nothing. I did absolutely nothing other than say stop. Great, I'm going to put that there. For the audience, you did all the work. You said stop. You used your psychic abilities, your influence, your magical prowess, whatever you want to credit it to. And that, by giving that to you as a gift to my audience, giving that power away, makes me more likable. Right. Wow. Jim's family, Bob's family, all got the aces. Isn't that incredible? So when the audience claps, they're actually clapping for that family. Right. But I get it. And they're always going to clap harder and enjoy it more when it's for one of their own.
That's great.
And it doesn't need to be, I mean, I'm doing a sloppy force. You can say, if it's in real life, pick a card, you can do a dribble, whatever you want. But I think what happens in the world of magic is we focus so much on I'm going to use this force and then I'm going to switch up the force. They don't give a crap. If you force 4 different ways, all of a sudden the force becomes, well, why did he change it up every time? Right? Because when we talk about magic, we say, well, no, you just did the same thing 4 times. You can't do that. Well, that was actually less obvious to an audience and now we're going to crisscross and Right. Exactly. Simple. Keep it simple. It should feel boom, 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 miracle.
Should be like nothing happened. And that's what nothing happened. They did all the work. All you did was convey it.
And I would stress if you do magic and you haven't given the power to your audience, if you haven't given them the credit,
Mhm.
try it. I think that you will be amazed at the incredible reactions they get, and how quickly it's rubber and glue, how quickly it bounces off them and goes back to you.
Yeah.
Um, if you give them the credit and say, this was all you, even if it's one-on-one, and they go, oh my God, that's incredible. How did you do that? I don't know. No, man, that was you. That is such a more powerful feeling than some guy did a magic trick for me or some girl did a magic trick for me.
Something I've seen recently has been with a lot of the guys that are making submissions to me. I've seen a lot of tricks that are like that, where timed misdirection is used, and people think that they did everything themselves. They can't remember the last time you touched a deck or you touched something or were near something, and they remember it differently than what it really happened. And that always, when somebody does that and it happens in their hand, or they made the magic wave or something, they always love it. You can see it in their eyes. You can see them excited about it. And I think that's with the story you told. I think that's what happens, is that anticipation, because they're directly involved like that.
It's we in Magic. I have a big I have a big bookcase there of books that I've actually read, all of them in Magic, and we talk about wand hammerers and these more emotional magicians,
Mm-hmm.
and what they all talk about is the experience of the spectator, the experience of the person watching your show. And what happens is we want to amaze. We want to do, oh my God, the card changed colors. Look how cool that is. And we're so hesitant to give up that power. We're so hesitant to be vulnerable as magicians.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy.
No.
And this is not the second thing, it's part of the first one. And it's not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I said this earlier, because the methods are easy, people jump into mentalism and go, well, I don't have to learn sleight of hand. I can look at the reaction I got. The reason so much of it is boring is because it's not for everyone. Some people, if you don't have a good performance personality, don't do mentalism for people. Do it for your magic club, do it for your friends, but don't get on a stage and bore people to death. The second part of that is it's incredibly personal.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And it's hard. I mean, it's hard because you're creating a show, and if you look at, there are great mentalists right now. There's John Stetson, there's Oz Perlman, there's Colin McLeod, who's in the Vegas stage. And the thing that connects all of them is they each have a unique personality, so they may be doing a standard, but they're doing it in their own way. And if you can't do that, mentalism may not be right for you. Mentalism is not the thing where you buy the trick and then do it as said, because it's so personal. And the other part to that is because people are watching this going, screw you, I do mentalism all the time, and my people watch it and they love it. Are you doing mentalism again, or are you doing mental magic? Are you a guy who does magic, and it could be in that moment real. It could be the most incredible thing that any card at any number, if you do that well, that is mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's walking away going, well, you did all these magic tricks and then you did a mental thing and you must be psychic. They may think there's something else to it. They may think there is a little bit of truth, but and this is not meant to be offensive. Know your place. Know why you're doing what you're doing. So if you're a magician who finds that mental tricks work really well, embrace that you're a magician that has learned these secrets of the mystics and you can do it. If you are someone that does a mentalism act and you want to present it as real, present it as real. If you want to present it as psychology and studying the human reaction, knock yourself out. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Every magician tries really hard to get people to think that what they're doing is real or have a real moment.
Okay, so what type of magic do you do professionally, and how can people get in contact with you?
So again, I do mostly corporate events, and I also do private events at private clubs around the country. I do a few private shows, usually for high wealth clients. Fly around; it's a nice life. People can find me on my website. It's themagicmentalist.com. www.themagicmentalist.com. All my info is there, all my contact info. The nice thing is I have nothing to sell. The even nicer thing is I truly believe that my competition is not you who's watching this going to try to sell themselves to a corporation. My competition is the person that does a bad show, because those people will never book me again. So if someone does have a question, if someone's working on a routine and wants a second set of eyes, that's where I'm not going to right now. Hope this doesn't stay up in perpetuity. I'm not going to charge for helping someone create a better show, because ultimately that will help me get booked later down the road. I think we are a community. I see this in the mentalism world much more than the magic world. We are a community, and the more we help each other, the better we will all be for it. We are not each other's competition. Now, with that being said, if you steal my act, if you steal my routines that I've worked hard on to make my own, even though the effect is in a book or marketed, my routines are mine. And I'm very protective of those, because that's my business. That's my bread and butter. And you should be too, but we should not be in a world where we are afraid to call up another magician or mentalist and say, hey, I'm working on this. What do you think? We shouldn't be afraid of the other mentalist going, that's great, I'm going to do it. That's not cool.
At the end of every show, I like our guests to recommend somebody that they think should be on the show. Do you have anybody in mind?
Yeah, I have a few people. Rick Gerber, I really like. He's the Budweiser magician. He works for Anheuser-Busch, and he represents them by doing magic at bars and restaurants around the country when they're open. And Rick was the first person that I met that explained to me, you can be very successful and nobody will know who you are. And kind of made me understand, and not that nobody knows who Rick is. Rick is very well known in the magic world, but helped me come to terms with the idea that nobody in the magic world knows me, but I am a full-time magician who does very well. I don't want to pat myself on the back. I'm 6 figures a year doing magic, and that is because of a lot of hard work. But the comfort with that, and understanding that it's my job, and that, you know what, I'm going to do magic for a paying public, really came from Rick. I think he is so smart about the business of magic and really knows what his audience works and what his clients want. I love Paul Draper. He's had such an interesting career, which is still going on, thankfully. I think he's someone who is great because he's adapted. He's not a kids performer, but he's so good with kids that when this Zoom thing came out, he's made a very good Zoom living doing magic for family audiences, and has made it work. And he has a couple of things on Penguin, talk about cold reading. Paul is one of the smarter minds in magic and kind of understanding what an audience wants.
That the magicians are coming together all over the place and doing stuff for each other and helping each other out and giving advice. And I did say earlier,
pick the advice. Don't listen blindly. Don't say because this person said it, it's true. Pick and choose what advice you listen to. You can disagree with even the greatest minds of magic. Nothing is the Bible of magic.
Okay, Michael, thank you for being on the show. You were very entertaining. I enjoyed debating with you. You're very knowledgeable. Your answers, I couldn't have come up with better myself for sure. I really enjoyed it, and I think the viewers are going to enjoy it too. So thanks for being on. And to the viewers, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you got some value out of this, please consider hitting like and subscribe. And we'll see you next week. Slightly out.